Well, good evening, everybody. This is a West Yorkshire football show. It's a Talk Town special. Terriers thrashed at Wycombe as Alfie sees red. And potentially not the only person to see red over the weekend. Stephen, good evening, my friend. How are you?
Good evening. You all right?
You all right? Sound like that guy out of Phoenix Nights. Cal, how are you, my friend? You good?
Superb. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic, mate. Fantastic. I've had a busy week, busy weekend. Some unfortunately, or some would say fortunately, didn't quite manage to watch the whole game. We've got bits and bats from it from the weekend, but it's been a disappointing one. It has been a disappointing one from my perspective. Watching England in the rugby league, probably could have done better, and then to see that scoreline down at Wycombe against Michael Duff as well, that's probably going to hurt a fair bit more as well, isn't it? So without going any further into it and small talking everybody, we've already got a few comments in on there, so thank you very much from Michael, Dirty and Blue Terrier. Let's go through them early on. So Michael says, Town die performance and tactics, Nagel backing Grant in press article, Alfie May sending off, and how many games do we give Grant before change? Let's see what Stephen Kaine and Callum have to say. Dare say I get the feeling Grant and May aren't getting along. Blue Terry, according to Football League World, Grant is fighting to save his job. These comments coming in because at the weekend it was Wycombe 3, Huddersfield Town 0. So Steve tells me he's put some overlays, some screenshots in here. So we're going to see part faces, part not. And this is how we were adjudged to have been lining up over the week. And I've pressed the overlay, but it's not really working for me right now.
Yeah.
That's working. It's on now.
Oh, appreciate it. We're just taking a bit of time on mine with my poor Wi-Fi at the moment. Okay, so Nichols starred Ruskin, Lowe, Feeney, Sorensen, Ledson, Wells, Gooch, Castledine, Harness, and Alfie May. Cal, what did you make up the lineup? I thought it was interesting that there were two out-and-out right-backs in that starting 11.
Yeah, it's looking at the graphic. That there's for me in a game like that, there's square pegs in round holes there. So it's like he gives with one hand and takes away with the other. We finally saw Alfie May playing where he's supposed to be, but we saw Sorensen drifting all over the park, and it was like he was given the license to roam, but not told exactly who he was supposed to be picking up. So he was given license to roam when we were in possession, which is fine and fairly normal. And he's played better in that position before, when he's been sort of getting forward, and like he did at Lincoln when we picked him up, they were whipping balls in left, right and centre, that's what he's good at. However, in the defensive sort of third, and when we're out of possession, we were lost. We seemed all at sea. Those goals that we've conceded have come, yes, after a red card, and I'm sure we'll get onto that, but they're not difficult goals to defend. The ball in for the first goal is not a difficult ball to defend. It floats in towards the back post. It just needs a big head. But where were we? We were all over the place. The players were not picking up the men in the right places. Now, ultimately for me, that comes down to instruction. That comes down to drills and preparation. And it just wasn't there. And it wasn't there all afternoon.
So one there for Cal. Steve, what did you make of that lineup?
Yeah, I was happy to see Alfie May actually playing the striker role, somewhere that we actually bought him to play. That's a magnificent start. Castledine, obviously, in the number 10. Happy with that. Harness, I mean, he's playing in his normal position, but he was about as ineffective as ever. Gooch on the left there, I'm not particularly sure about that. I mean, I do really like Lyndon Gooch. He's probably my favourite Town player out of the lot, but I wouldn't say that he's his position. He's more of a solid fullback than a sort of ranging winger, sort of inside forward type. So he got criticised against Bolton for playing too narrow, and it's like, right, do you know what? I'm going to show everybody now. I'm going to play the two wide men, and we just fell apart. And it's just like the midfield is a point that I want to come on to later. But yeah, I mean, I was happy with the lineup, as happy as I could be, but there were questions to be asked, Kaine, to be honest.
Okay, so I'm going to put this to you both, and just quickly as well, Steve. It's Castledine, not Castledine. It's starting to wind me up with that. But anyway,
I'll say
I'm going to put it.
Oh, lads, let's not start turning on ourselves. There's plenty to go at on the outside, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put this to you both. Then we're talking about chops and changes in the lineup and where we want to see players, and then we've not seen players there. Carl, round pegs and square holes, vice versa. Stephen is as happy as you can be. So, Steve, talk to me. What lineup would you want to see? What would you have wanted to see? What would have your ideal lineup been this weekend against Wycombe?
Well, knowing the injuries that we've got, obviously, I was happy in terms of the central two in Feeney and Lowe. I think Josh Feeney's probably been the best centre back that we've had so far this season. I would have switched. I would have switched Ruskin and Gooch over. I don't know why, because Ruskin's not the best defensively, but he's okay going forward. Where really he's got it the wrong way around. Sorensen coming in, I actually thought Sorensen for the last couple of games that he's played has been all right, to be fair. One or two errors, but nothing that we've not come to expect. But he hasn't been horrendous. So just a weird, like I say, you're playing three fullbacks in your starting lineup. Doesn't really make sense. And then Ben Wiles in the middle with Ledson, that doesn't ring true to me either. Ledson's been poor, and I like I said, I want to come on to the midfield a bit more later in the show. But for me, Ben Wiles is not strong enough to play in that two pivot, both physically, and I don't think he's strong enough mentally to deal with it either. You've got to be a robust character in there, and that's not Ben Wiles at all. So, like I said,
Steve, let's do that.
Sorry.
Steve.
Yes. Kaine's
Give
having
us
some problems.
what your lineup would be. Yes, you're saying injuries, but you're just going through.
Okay, so my lineup would have been Nichols, Gooch at right back, Feeney and Lowe. Left back would have been Miller. Then the two in front of him would have been Kasumu and Kaine, because I don't think we have Kasumu and Ledson, because I don't think we've got an option. Then I would have played Wiles on the left, Castledine in the middle, and Harness on the right, and May up top.
All right, okay. Thank you. Cal?
Let me do it. Because if we're going off, pick a side that doesn't have any injuries in it, we might as well say, well, I'll have Messi up top, I'll have Aaron in middle, and I'll have Schindler at back. I mean, we are crippled currently again. Well, not quite as bad as last year, but it's not brilliant. We're getting the injury situation, and you had Castle down to that's a suspected, I think, dislocated shoulder. Somebody said earlier, but I'm not sure. I'd have put. I don't know. It's a difficult one for me because I think I'd have put a very similar side out, but I'd have made small changes. So I'd have put Sorensen up instead of Harness and have Miller form part of the back four. playing as right back. I'd swap Ruskin and Gooch as we have been doing this season, and instead of playing them like it seems to think that we played them on that graphic, where we had Ruskin form part of the back four and Gooch playing a bit further forward. I don't think you necessarily need to do that when Gooch will roam naturally in his position anyway when you're playing this formation. I'm not really sure what changing their roles adds to it. I'd have still played May up top because I think he needs that time, or needed before his red card. And you know what? Looking at the defence we had, I'd have been tempted to put throw Sean Ruin in there. Maybe instead of Lowe, just to change something, because it's not been working, has it? And I'm not change for change's sake, but you know, and I said this as well. Ryan Ledson, captain, drop him. Drop him for a game. Is he captain? Yeah, it's a big statement to drop him for a game, but he's been nowhere near good enough consistently for the past 3-4 games.
Well, I think him and Aaron has been our worst players, to be honest.
What a statement it would be for Grant to put his foot down and go, right, yes, you are the captain. Yes, you are the leader. You and Wiles are in my leadership group or whatever it is. Drop him. Why not? What at this point, what have we got to lose?
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, gents. I think the reason I ask what your lineup would be, because it is very easy to go through what you've seen and go, well, I didn't like that, I didn't like that, I didn't like this about it. So to get your opinions on that one is absolutely fantastic. I think you've also, when we look at the bench that was available to the team at the weekend, you know, a couple of players that didn't come on, Radulovic and Ashia. You know, again, I think a lot of fans will be wondering where Ashia is when, you know, he's on the bench, doesn't necessarily come on, and you know, there's fullbacks playing as wingers, arguably 2 left backs on the bench as well. I think Lee Grant sees Miller as a bit more of a forward option, and I would say that he's more of a forward option than Ruskin. I think Ruskin is definitely more suited to left back. Ruin again left back, but Ruskin can do that job if needs be. And arguably, would you say there's been a bit of well, with injuries and stuff, there's been a bit of an issue with our wingers in that area at the moment, and certainly from what I saw the other week at home against Bolton was the 2 wingers, maybe one of them certainly didn't track back, and the other one was struggling with the confidence to go around the players because there were 2 players who don't play wing. So there has been a lot of you know, round pegs in square holes, etc. And we are picking at pieces, and there is a lot of injuries.
The worst defeats we've had this season, or the most exposed that we've been in games, they've exposed us through wing play. Blackpool, Bradford, is it Northville?
Northville.
He tore us apart down the wing. All they had to do was look up and run forward, cut inside, and they're in, and that's it. And it's that easy. And it has consistently been that easy too many times.
So if it's been that so easy too many times, Cal, what resolves that issue?
I don't know whether it would be changing the way that they operate the roles. So instead of saying to Sorensen and Gooch, right, work on the overlap with Ruskin and Harness and sort of move your way up the field, do you say, right, stay back, stay deeper, go no further than the halfway line, and almost don't make them wing backs, make them a left and a right back that stay back with the defensive line? That could be a way of changing, shoring up the defence, especially on the counter-attack. I'm not entirely sure, but at this point, we can't do the old, well, we'll just need to move these players around and move these, because these are not positions that we are flush with players that can operate that role as effectively as we need to. Look at Ruskin. Yes, he can drop into that role. Is he effective there? Nowhere near as effective as he is as a winger.
See, I disagree. I disagree with that. I'll be honest. I see Miller as the defensively better player. I don't think Ruskin's half as good as what Miller is defensively. Now, whether that's down to experience, I don't know. But whenever I've watched Miller play as a left back, he can do both. He can do the defensive side, but also has got the pace and the athleticism to get up in the attack. Where I think Ruskin, I don't think he's defensively switched on. I think you see a lot of the times when the ball comes onto the opposition's right wing, that they get in behind. That's where they're getting in behind. We have the same problem, by the way, with Sorensen on the other side, because when he came from Lincoln, although he played as a fullback, the way that their coach plays, he plays with high pressing fullbacks. Yeah. So he's come to town and he's been used to being this high pressing fullback, and yet we've had certain managers that either play him as a wing back in Duff or now wanting to be a high pressing fullback, but because they both go, we're then short at the back, and because we've got a powder puff candy floss midfield, nobody drops back in to help.
I would say though, in my dream scenario that I'm concocting here in my head, where our defenders don't move forward with the attack and we don't have overlapping runners that everybody has now because it's in vogue, like long throws are back as well, and isn't it wonderful? However, I would probably put Miller on the side, drop Sorensen, put Miller on that side, leave Gooch where he is on the other side, because I think there you've got two strong players that have the athleticism, but also the strength that if they are staying back, they're not letting their man in, or they'll front up their man and not try and run him into the corner.
But Gooch is a fullback or a winger?
I'd try him.
I don't think he's a winger. I really don't.
No, I'd have him as a fullback, and I'd have Ruskin playing in front of him.
Yeah. That makes more sense.
Interestingly, Cal, I'd go the opposite way around. I think they're both fullbacks.
Whichever way you swap them, I'm playing with the system here.
Yeah. You're playing with the
league.
I'm a visionary, mate.
Yeah. I've just got one from Dale Mellor that I'm going to pop up on screen, and then we're going to touch on this first half. So it would go a 3-4-1-2 with Nichols in goal, Feeney, Lowe, Rowan, Gooch, Ledson, Vost, Miller, Castledine, May, and Radolovic. Now, what do you guys make of that?
I might have to write that one down to see where it all goes.
No, I get it. I get what he's saying. He's saying three centre backs with presumably
Lowe and Ruin as your centre backs.
Yeah.
Gooch and Leds or Miller.
No.
Gooch and
Miller, yeah.
And Miller.
Vost. Yeah.
Austin Ledson.
I quite like that. Yeah.
I do quite like because it provides the cover on the wings still.
You will like it.
I'd be more worried that they would move forward and then we'd be exposed again with three centre backs.
It's a very Michael Duff system.
Aren't the fastest centre backs in the world, are they? Right, fair.
No, but Feeney's not that slow. I think he's actually the quickest centre back, isn't he? I would say. I think
I'm the quickest in a race of like I could line up some people slower than me and be the fastest.
Well, I do believe, according to reports in training, when they have sprint tests, Joe Lowe is up there. So watch out. So I won't be saying they're too slow. Anyway, right, gents. Okay, so we spoke about the lineup. We spoke about what we would like to see, and Dale's put that in. So I really appreciate that one, Dale. I think that's a fantastic comment to put in there for everyone to have a think about. First half, Town seemed to start okay, which again they did against Bolton. But is it a red card? What is going through Alfie May's head, Steve?
It's about as much of a red card as you could possibly get. So if anybody argues it into a red card, they don't know football, to be honest. Like the lad, he doesn't even go for the ball. He just decides to go, do you know what? Sod this. I can't. You know, we've done well for 24 minutes, but I probably only had 3 touches of the ball. I didn't watch the fixture. I've only watched the highlights. So you know, when he makes the tackle, it's a very bad tackle, and he knows, doesn't he? As soon as he knows, you can see in his reaction, he knows it's a red card.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Cal, you just said it. Blue Terrier just put a comment here. Alfie gave the ref the easiest decision now all day. You just mentioned, Cal, it's his first ever red card. Can you read anything else into that? Why it might be his first red card?
Do you want me to?
Conspiracy theories here.
Are you leaving the door slightly ajar here?
I've asked a question, Cal.
Is it because he hates Lee Grant and wants him sacked?
No. That's not what I'm saying. Is he getting frustrated with where he's playing, with the fact that he's probably not getting as many shots away that he wants? Could it be that?
I don't think he's going to get frustrated with the position that he's playing when he was playing where he wanted to play and he got sent off. So unless this is an impassioned case for, please drop me back into the midfield, I don't think he's going to be shouting from the rooftops about being played where he wants to play. However, it might be that he's had to drop back too far to try and recover the ball himself, and he's kicked out, and he really has kicked out because he is miles away from the ball.
Yeah, build up of frustration as well. Mark says May did slip into the tackle, but he was out of control and in a non-threatening situation.
Slipped into the tackle with 1 foot.
Slipped. Jeez. Is that the? I mean, fair play for the comment. I like that. I like that we're trying to come up with a defence for Alfie May not getting sent off. But my God, it's like Goodman when
Owen Goodman was good, to be fair.
Dale says, I didn't think anyone would challenge Goodman for the most blatant red card of the season, but Alfie definitely tried.
I mean, what was Goodman's reason when he tried to karate kick Uzic's head off? Like, did he slip as well?
Funny.
I think he did slip, actually, when McGoldrick slipped down into Goodman's knee. Anyway, right. So Alfie May goes off and the rest of the afternoon goes downhill, Cal. Just take me through it. Just take me through every single goal, the second half. Tell me.
A horrible comedy of errors, because up to the very second that Alfie May sees that red card, we were in control. We were playing a good system. We were playing a good tempo. We had him on the back foot. We were pressing towards the first goal. Alfie May gets sent off, and I'm not sure whether this was an instruction or whether it's just a mentality thing. We then just sit back, and as time goes on, we're sitting further and further and further and further and further back until the ball gets whipped in, and Cauley Woodrow, all he has to do is be at that back post, and all he has to do is get higher than the defenders, none of whom are picking the right man up, by the way, unless we'd sent them out drilled that the smallest man would pick up the tallest man, which I don't believe that we would have done. But I tell you what, just Mark Harrison's comment there. Let me just pull my Statman Dave up here.
Did we have a shot after the red card?
We had 5 shots all before the red card. We had 5 shots all game.
Yeah, we didn't have one after the red card. It's on the graphics.
Now,
we'll come on to them. But Cal, keep going for us.
So, do I have to? It's like reliving PTSD, this. I'm getting flashbacks to the beach, Dean. We were, even after the goal, you thought, right, heads down. We've dropped. Time to change something. Half time comes, right. Going at half time, settle down. But we didn't, and correct me if I'm wrong, because my memory is now patchy. Did we make a change after the red card? We didn't, did we?
No.
Now, who's then expected to go up front?
Is it a case of consolidating the point then at that point when you go down to 10 men away from home?
Consolidate the point at 40. We've done this before. We did it against Bolton last week. Consolidating the point in the first half and going, right, lads, okay, let's just wait, sit back. And again at Bolton, we got further and further and further and further and further back, and they equalised. And then we were so shell-shocked that they scored again. And all that's happened here is that we got a red card, we're shell-shocked, they score, but we don't switch this back on. So the other goals were just so easy. We were so easy to play around. It's ridiculous.
Steve, goals. What did you make of them and how Town conceded them?
Yeah, I mean, Cal's right. I mean, after the red card, like, you know, we start dropping and do the usual thing, which is, I understand from a mentality thing, you need to have a reset. That's fine. But we concede the first goal is, I mean, we just love conceding goals against big crap houses, don't we, in this division? Dolby the other week, we've had, I think it's Wootton for Stockport that scored against us. We've had Carly Woodrow. I mean, blooming heck,
absolute unit.
Yeah. You know, we just love conceding these goals. And what I love about it, right? What makes me laugh is we've gone out and bought defenders that are supposed to be good at heading the ball and that are quite physically solid. Now, we had that last season with Lees and Pearson, but they were both as slow as snails. This year, we've actually got defenders that are supposed to be quite quick. And like, nobody's getting to him. No, nobody's getting to him. I mean, bless Nichols, he must look at it.
Go back to my comment about slow defenders. Thank you.
What am I supposed to do here, lads? Second goal, half time. I don't know what he said to him at half time. Unless he's just said, "Don't worry, lads, we'll get back into it. I'll make a couple of subs on 70th minute and we'll change it." That didn't happen. The second goal, I mean, they just walls through the midfield. It's like a knife through butter that's been in a pan ready to cook some scrambled egg. You know, it's absolutely pathetic. And then the lad just, it's a good strike, but I mean, where are we blocking that? The third goal, I feel sorry for Vost because he's come on, young lad, hasn't he? And what's he supposed to do? I mean, he's gone to try and clear it, hasn't he? But it's just bounced off him.
The damage is done though by then, isn't it?
But yeah, well, exactly. The damage is done, but it don't mean to say that you can't not feel sorry for the lad. Because
no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying the damage is that we've lost the game already. It doesn't matter. If
you know what?
And then he put it into his own net. You think, right? Well,
and you know what? None of the other senior players, none of them, when you look at it, go up and say, "Don't worry, lad, it's all right." The one person that does is Josh Feeney, who's 20 years old or 21 years old, that's on loan.
Probably because it's another against the dressing room. All old boys hanging up on all young boys.
But and I'm sure this could be a topic that we come on to, but where is the leadership there? Where are the experienced lads going, right, don't worry, lad.
Been sent off.
Yeah, well, one of them's been sent off, so he can't do a lot about it. And what I loved about when he got sent off is he went to kick the hoarding and got that wrong as well.
Missed and all that. Unreal.
So, just want to go into a couple of comments, and then Steve, I'm going to come back to you, mate. Mark says Blackpool and Stockport prove that he can be effective with 10 men. Blue Terry also says McGoldrick headbutted Goodman's foot. I've got another couple of comments as well that I'm going to come back to just a little bit later on from Mark and from Ian as well. So thank you for them. I have seen them. I am going to come to them. Steve, you've got a bit of an issue with the midfield at the moment.
I have all season. It's crap.
It's with the rest of them as well, to be fair.
I don't like Ledson for me. Why is he captain? What's he bringing? I agree with Cal. Drop him. What's the point in him playing? Because he's so... One of the graphics I've got shows Ledson's inability to make a tackle in the second half when we're sat deep trying to protect a 2-0 defeat. Sorry. You know, but then playing Ben Wiles alongside him when we know he's not a direct sort of centre midfielder that is robust, like I said, like David Kasuma. All right, David, bless him, can't pass the ball, but at least he can run and make a tackle. So Ben went missing as usual. And it's just Grant does not know how to sort that. Now, whether we would be better when McGuane comes in, I don't know. That might be interesting. Maybe that's a player that could replace Ledson in that position. Maybe take the pressure off Ledson. I don't know, but Ledson and Arnes for me. I mean, the other thing when we were talking about the wing play, by the way, and getting your fullbacks to overlap, the first thing you need to do is get the lads that are playing in the wing position to be able to hold the ball up. That'd be a good start to let your fullbacks overlap. And that was dope because the players inside forwards. The worst thing to come out, the two worst things for me to come out of this game is obviously the defeat, but then also Castle Dines injury. I would say he's been one of the bright sparks of what has been a disappointing first 13 games. So I've got a big issue with the midfield because I just don't think it's there. I just don't. There's nothing there. We get dominated every game in the midfield.
So do you think they're getting pulled out of position? Do you think they're not in position already? Do you think is it
just not doing the job?
There? Is there not enough players in there? But it's all right saying they're not doing the job. All right, But what is it that you would think would fix that midfield? Is it not necessarily just a player? Is it should there be just the one person in there? Should the fullbacks not be going so then they can cover? So that means the midfield can cover themselves in the middle, not having to go out wide, having to cover that position as well.
That'd be a start. Yeah, definitely, that would be a start. But all we're asking of our midfield, it's a League One team. We're not asking for Premier League footballers, are we? We're asking for our midfield players to make a tackle and make an accurate pass. We're not asking for a lot. We're with the players that we have in there, and you look at the experience that they've had playing at other EFL clubs, or the fact that they've been at Town now for a couple of seasons. And they know this division because they've played in it either all last season or they've played higher. I don't understand why we are so poor in both the defensive aspect in the midfield, but also in the attacking play. Because we can look good for 20 minutes, but then I don't understand why it changes. But why in games does one decision or even one bad pass just leave the midfield with the inability to then pass a ball or put in a successful challenge for the rest of the game? I don't
my issue necessarily. The issue is not necessarily the midfield. There are issues with individuals in it. For me, Ryan Ledson has been a championship captain for a good number of years now. He needs to be that pivot between defense and attack, where the ball comes to him, he looks up, sprays left, right, whoever's open, whoever's showing. We need that. But if a decision goes the wrong way, nobody's showing because they're all scared of what might come next if they show and get it wrong. And, crowds on top of them, or they pick up a card, or they lose the ball. Nobody shows for whoever's in front of the midfield when the game's against us. And that really, really naggers your option when you're looking for a pass. And it makes it look as though, and yes, they have done on a great number of occasions, but it exacerbates the problem of not being able to find your man when your man is not showing for you like he was 20 minutes ago.
Cal, so I just put up Lord's comment as well, and he had versing with 4 to pieces, just because it was fitting with what you were saying there. So it's not just yourself saying. Just want to ask as well, you talk about the pivoting man being Ryan Ledson. Currently, it seems as if Town are playing with 2 pivots in there, the 2 defensive midfielders. Do you feel as if it might be better for Town to just have the one in there? Because you mentioned about looking for options, because when there's 2 in there, it goes to one of the pivots. Your option is sideways or back to a centre half. So if you've got the one in there, if you're going backwards, that might open a pass to go forwards instead of just going to sideways to the next one. Is that kind of what you're alluding to?
And in systems where we've played one central pivot, those gaps have opened up, and we've played and scored good goals from them. That long ball through, sort of swooping through, and then you're in. However, when you've got two, the option, like you say, becomes to play sideways, and then it becomes to play backwards, and that very quickly kills any sort of momentum that you might have going forward, because it allows the opposition to group back up, man back up, and settle themselves into where their defensive setup, so that if we do go forward, them options that you had prior to the sideways pass, they've gone now because they've covered up.
So who should be our midfield two then? Who should be?
Do we need a midfield too?
But you're saying we need a pivot and then another not pivot. So who it is going to be two players?
We currently have two pivots. I would be happy.
I know we do.
I'll be happy to drop one of them and have Ledson on his own in the middle.
But that's not 4-2-3-1 then.
I don't want 4-2-3-1 because it's not working.
Yeah, this is just talking about what you want to have in your midfield. We're looking at what we would like to see, how we think things might be different, and I think what we're alluding to there, Steve. I don't know if you agree, but having that one person just deeper is going to free a lot more space going further forward. So
I'd rather have four play almost 4-1-4. Like
that's
4-1.
Yeah, that's fine, and I get that. But I'm going to do an Oliver here and go back to the Premier League years. But what? No, because we do. It's fans in it. We do hark back to the better times. But we had the perfect not pivot in Hogg and Moy. Moy will get the ball. I know he's an outstanding player, and I know we haven't got that quality of a player. But my point is, he's obviously gone to try and do that with Ben Wiles in this fixture, hasn't he? And it's absolutely backfired on him. When he had Herbie Kaine playing there, I thought Herbie Kaine was actually quite a good partner with Ledson. The problem that I have with Herbie Kaine is he's not fit enough to get round the pitch like an Aaron Moy was, or like Norwood has with the lad in the midfield with at Stockport, that Bailey.
So can I just come on to this then, Steve? I know you mentioned about going back there, but for me in general, if my team is struggling or fighting for the place in the league, mid-table, lower mid-table, I would have two defensive midfielders, two pivots, because I'm trying to back up my midfield defensively. Town are a completely different side, and if I was aiming for the top promotion, playoffs, or whatever, when I'm coaching or trying to engage a bit more attacking, I would have the one pivot in there because you've got the good quality players around you. So where are we with Town? Do you see Town as a team that need to sit back, defend, and cement the place in the league, or do you see them a team who can go and win the league?
I don't. I'm not disagreeing with anything tactically that you're saying about a one pivot and the other player not being a pivot. What I'm disagreeing with is we don't have that player to be the not pivot, because you either have to play Ledson. You have to look at the players that are available. Ledson and Kasumu, right? They're both defensive midfielders. Ledson, you can't play Ledson and Herbie Kaine because Herbie Kaine's out. You can't play Ben Wiles there because he's not. For me, he's not. He doesn't have the wherewithal to play in that centre midfield spot. I see Ben Wiles as a number 10 or playing further up the pitch. You can't play. You could play McGuane, but McGuane's we don't know what he's like really. We haven't seen anything of him. So who else could you put there? There isn't anybody at Vost.
This is the point, Steve. You're not putting anyone else.
So what we're saying then, Kaine, is we've got to change formation, haven't we? So
I think that's what Cal and myself essentially are alluding to in that middle of the park. We're saying that the two pivots defensively aren't needed.
But Grant's not going to do that, lads. We're sitting here thinking.
Rid of him.
I think we all agree that we need to change formation with the players that we've got. But I'm looking at it as a realist. While Grant is in charge, he ain't going to do that.
well, he's not going to last very, very long in any job that he's going to go to if he
I agree,
refuses to adapt his tactics to what's in front of him. Because
I agree.
the longer this persists, the more we are going to make the same mistakes, and the more the blame is sometimes going to go on the players. And if they're being asked to play in a position like this, they can stick to it all they want. It ain't going to work.
Okay, gents, let's look through the stats then, and let's move on, because I know Steve works hard to put these in here for us. So I do apologise if they don't come up straight away. Oh, they have come up on. So we've got Marcus Harness first. Sorry, I can't see them straight away until they come up on here. So Steve, I'm going to let you run through these. So
yeah,
why have you put Marcus Harness on there?
Marcus Harness has gone on here because, once again, I thought he was very ineffectual from what I've read, what other fans that have been to the game has told me. 51 touches in the entire game for an attacking player isn't that good. Touches in the opposition box, 0. I mean, I know we had a man sent off, but it just proves the point that we didn't attack. Successful dribbles, he had 1. And he lost the ball on the other, so he only got 50% worth of dribbles. Passes into the final third, he only made 6. Accurate long balls, he played 1 successful accurate long ball out of 5, 20%. And dispossessed, he was dispossessed only once. But that's, to be honest, he only had 51 touches in the entire game, so he didn't have a lot of possession.
I mean, if you only lose the ball once out of 51 times, it's not a bad return. But I get your point, Steve. I'm just trying to have a bit of fun. Okay, next one up. Why have you put Marcus Harness on twice? Okay, you got some other stats.
It shows other stats. So, accurate passes, 24 out of 36, 67%. Chances created, he only created 1. No goals, no assists, no total shots. And I know it's your favourite stat, Kaine, but expected assists as XG 0.03%. I mean, do you think there'll have been a lower expected XG for any a winger in the league this weekend?
An XA, yeah, I think there'll probably been a few. Okay, moving on. Next one, you've got Ledson in there.
Yeah, Ledson. Well, obviously he's my captain, or our captain. I wanted to look how many tackles he made. He only made 3 tackles all game. He made no blocks, only 3 clearances, and 2 headed clearances. And he made no interceptions. And yet we sat back for 60 minutes of the game. I mean, that just shows you how crap the midfield was statistically. And Ledson's not the only one. Ben Wow's stats are just as bad.
Okay, moving on.
This was just a look at the sort of general. So in the second half, these are stats for only the second half. Wycombe made 392 passes. We made 112. And we only had an accurate passing percentage of 59%. So out of 112, we only had 66 accurate passes. In our own half, we played 51 of them. Obviously, Wycombe a lot higher. And again, for opposition half, we only made 15 passes in the whole of the second half in Wycombe's half. 15, lads. And that might have been 1-2s between, I don't know, like the ball going to Gooch and Gooch passing it back to Ruskin, who was in our own half. Accurate long balls, we had more, but I mean, it's still pretty pathetic 29%. And then, yeah, as you can see, touches in the opposition box, we had 0, they had 25.
It's quite a bit of a difference there, isn't it, Cal?
Yeah, absolutely.
But look,
puts into perspective the stark sort of position that we're currently in, doesn't it? I suppose
it does. But you understand someone like with Town being down to 10. I'm not trying to defend anyone here. I'm just saying that you're down to 10 for a long, long time. We've seen teams with 10 do better, but Town historically have not exactly been great with 10. Have they ever been great with 10? Maybe that's just a mentality thing all across. Okay, gents, it's been a poor weekend. Disappointing. I'm going to come back to a few more comments now. Lord says, what about no wingers, no pace out wide? We don't know what we are. Maybe that's, again, alluding to identity, which we always try and talk about what we want to see and how we expect things to be, what the philosophy is. And we've come up, or the club and League Grant have come up with Northern football, but we're still trying to find out what that is. Mark Harrison says, this was the comment earlier on that I wanted to come back to, down to the bare bones in midfield, and it's worse than with Castledine's injury. It never rains. And Ian says, I saw Nagel has been attacking certain fans who have publicly criticised the running of the club. Never ends well when you attack the fans, whether you are right or wrong. I think we've got a new comment as well further down. We've not been great with 11 either, says Dirty. So, yeah, there's arguments all over the place in there. There's discussions, there's conversations to go on. Town have got a break from the league now. They've got a break from the league. They've got the FA Cup and the EFL Trophy. Bolton away next Saturday, and then is it Mansfield away as well, or are they at home? I can't really remember. I did have it up. They are at home on Tuesday the 4th of November. Is this going to be a good break away from the league? A little bit of less pressure on the group. They're not to the expectation is to go and win every single game in the league. That's what fans do. That's what the fans want, to win that. They go to the FA Cup now and the EFL Trophy, and they go, well, actually, we're not going to win the FA Cup. If we lose today, we're away from home. We can release the shackles a little bit and just have a bit more of a go. Could that happen, Cal?
Had we not just come off an international break into these poor performances, and I'm maybe been tempted to say maybe, but I'm now sort of at the point where I think I'm looking at this time now, not to say, right, this is a good time to reset the squad. I'm now looking at this, and I'm sure we were going to come onto it, and that's all right. I'll be the first one to put my head above the trench. This is a good time to change manager. There you go.
Okay.
Leave that there.
This will be a good time to sack Lee Grant. There you go.
Thanks, Cal. Steve. Yeah, cheers, Cal. Essentially, Steve, same question to you. Is that what we're looking at? A bit of a break from the league? Less pressure against Bolton, but then would you now look at it, the Mansfield game, going, actually, they need to go and win this. They need to get through to the knockouts. Otherwise, this could be pretty embarrassing. That's a competition that Town should be going to win.
I think he's got to get a win wherever he can get it. To be honest, Kaine, I think the Bolton game's quite big, not just because it's the cup. Obviously, we all want to do well in the FA Cup, but especially with what happened a few weeks ago and the way that we capitulated, I think Bolton is a big fixture. He's got to prove that he can go and beat this Bolton team, who, by the way, have won this weekend in the last 94th minute again with that Cozy Dewsbury, who's a fantastic talent. The Mansfield game, we say it, don't we, all the time? It's the crap cup, innit? Like, there'll be about 2,000 people there, if that. By the way, I wouldn't be shocked if we lose it. I really won't. I don't disagree with what Cal says, to be honest. Is it a good time to replace him? I think personally he's got 4 games left, not including the Mansfield game. So I think he's got 5 games that are the big games, and he's got to pull something out. He's got to do it, because I think he's lost 60-70% of the fan base. It's pretty dire when your previous manager is coming out and sort of saying, well, I didn't mind Huddersfield, and over all this. Me and you disagreed for many, many months about Michael Duff. I would have never sacked him, but the decision was made, and we got Lee Grant in, and there was positives at the start of the season. but they've all but disappeared now, and it's a long old season. And I tell you what, we're as close to the promotion race as what we are to the relegation race right now, and that's a scary thought. A very scary thought.
So I've got three things for our viewers to chime in with on their comments as well. Before I'm going to put this comment up. Lee, are you looking for a bite Huddersfield or an average Division 3 club? Okay, so comments, viewers, sticking or twisting with the manager, and then want your predictions for the Bolton game and for the Mansfield game, please. Like to get them in before I ask these two gentlemen as well. So, Cal, quite happily, you get rid of the manager now.
Yeah. So who are you bringing in?
No. Let's not talk about who you're bringing in, because there's so many people out there, and there's just a lot of managers. There's a lot of people in jobs, out of jobs. What you got to think is, anyone out of a job is out of a job for a reason. That's what I always think. Anyway, but Cal, what is it that's drawn you to this conclusion that you don't want him there anymore?
It's not even necessarily that the performances on the field of late have been completely unacceptable, given the caveat that we do not have a director of football. So the only person asking for the players that he's currently got, unless it's Kevin Nagel, which I doubt it would have been given his, as we've seen of late, lack of football nous, would have been Lee Grant and Lee Grant's coaching team that he brought in and appointed himself and asked for. And there was a big sort of hullabaloo made at the time of his appointment that we'd got these coaches and that these coaches were chosen by the manager and we're building something really special. And what have we got to show for it? We're 9th. We've spent the most money we've spent in recent times on a squad to try and get out of this division. We've got on paper, before the season started, we were tipped to finish top. We are 9th. We are slowly, 13 games in, watching this season fade away as we did the last one. We cannot afford to do that anymore because the money that went into this season will not go into next season. It can't. It's not a sustainable business model. Having bought the stadium as well, we're already operating at a loss for the year. We have to get this right, and right now it's not working. So twist. And if it doesn't work, then you've tried it. But sticking with Lee Grant for me, it's an experiment that's gone and is going quite wildly wrong. He no longer seems to be in control, and his press conferences don't give me any semblance of a man that looks to be in control and being able to galvanise the team, the fans, the players into getting behind him, because he just spouts from an FA-approved playbook of, well, we were good in the thirds and in the defensive quarter we've lacked depth and it's not good enough, and, we've got to really look hard at ourselves. We heard all that after Bolton. Did we really look that hard at ourselves that we've gone away to Wycombe, gone down to 10 men and thrown the game away yet again? No. I think it's time for a change. And I don't think everybody saying that who comes in. We said that after Michael Duff, who comes in? And then Lee Grant came in. And that's gone well, hasn't it? So there is always a risk changing the manager. All right, I'll throw you the flip side. Who comes in? When we sacked Chris Powell, when we sacked who did we sack before him?
Yeah, we hit Robbins, but we didn't sack him. He walked.
Matt Robbins walked away, so we got Chris Powell. Then we sacked him, and who did we get?
Yeah,
Grayson.
No, Wagner came after.
Come on,
Powell.
Yeah.
But Wagner's not.
Grayson was before them two.
Yeah, Grayson was after Clark. Come on,
Yeah.
Kaine, use your memory.
At the point that Mark Rubbins walked away, and during Chris Powell's tenure, nobody saw what was over the hill. And if we'd have not have twisted at the time, we wouldn't have got the wonderful glasses wearing German.
But the club's a different place from then.
Yes, it is. However, you did use that squad in an argument earlier today.
Which squad?
So you can't pick it. You said, well, Hogg and Moy.
Yeah, because we were talking about because we were talking about positions and specific tactics. Where now the conversation
I'm talking about specific managers.
No, yeah, but that argument doesn't. The club's different. It's owned by a different owner. It's in a very different financial state to what it was 10 years ago under Chris Powell, where I went to a well. In fact, I'm pretty sure you were at the same meeting when Dean Oil sat in front of us. With Wagner being announced, and Dean Oil went, "This was my last throw of the dice, basically."
So worse. So we were a less attractive prospect then than we are now.
Well, are we? Well, no, we weren't, because we were a championship club then.
So
we're a League One club now. We're a middling League One club.
But we don't have to be, Stephen. We don't have to be a middling League One club. We could be so much. We should be. With the money that's been spent on the squad that we've got, we should be more.
But I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is, look at the managers. Look at the conversation. I bet after when Warnock left, right? Look at the conversation we all had after Warnock. Who's next? So then he goes appoints Darren Moore. Darren Moore has 21 league fixtures in charge. Gets sacked. Should have been sacked after we lost to Leeds, but carried on for 21 fixtures. And then we bring Brian Wright in, and we thought, do you know what? He's done something different. He's gone for the foreign market. He's gone for something different. Brian Wright comes in, tears everybody to shreds, decides to upturn tables and do whatever else he did. And then in the summer, we're to-ing and throwing, thinking, is he going to stay? Is he not? And then he decides to walk. So then we get bloody hell, there's been that many managers, I forgot. But my point is, you look after every manager that we've had, and we've had the exact same conversation, Cal. Who's going to be next? Who's going to make the difference? None of them have made a difference.
So
the two managers in the last
another problem, though, doesn't it?
The three managers in the last 15 years that have made a difference, Wagner, Corberan, and Warnock, are the examples of how you can get spirit in a squad. My whole problem with Lee Grant is the performances are rubbish. Yes, he's got injuries. Every manager deals with injuries. And I agree with you on this point. When he sits in press conferences, I don't identify with him. I don't think, yeah, you're my man. I know in the dressing room you're saying to him, that really is not good enough. I don't see it in him. There's just no... There's no identity. Fans have nothing to go on. I'll tell you what Lee Grant is, right? It's like when you wake up in the morning and you think, what shall I have for breakfast? And then you have a plain piece of toast with nothing on it. That's what it is.
Wow. Okay. Right. I'm going to go through some comment. Cal.
Yeah, when we get to this bottom comment, this really winds me up.
Okay. Go on. I've got a few to get through. I'm assuming, Steve, by that bit of a burst of comments, is that you would be twisting?
I burst on the scene like Rich.
Are you sacking, all right?
I'm not at your stage yet, but I think if we lose,
oh, it's cut and dry, Steve.
It's not cut and dry, though. Is
his job, or don't say? Is he good enough?
You just told him a dry piece of toast.
Yeah, well, he is in terms of when he speaks.
So get him gone then, because that's his job.
Right. How many times can we sack managers? How many managers do we want to go through?
As many as it takes before they start winning football games.
You can't do that, Cal. You build nothing.
Oh, okay. So Steve just called manager a dry piece of toast, but don't want to sack him. So anyway, I'm going to go back through some of these comments that we've got in. So thank you very much for putting them in. I can see a few where we've got some predictions in for the games as well. So I'll come to them as well. We crossed the Atlantic says we've got a stick. Aidan Bell says 100% got to twist. Blue Terrier, I've seen yours. I'm going to come to it. You said you're twisting, but I've got your prediction there as well. Ian says, knowing Nagel's form, he must be considering Grant's future. Lee says, poor Huddersfield. He also said, stop picking on Steve. That's his job as well. I'll come to that comment shortly. Terry 930's put twist, but you've got some predictions in there as well, mate. So I'll come to them very shortly. Lord says this lot couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. Mark says this one's an interesting comment. I think they need to sort out the proper support function in terms of director of football, recruitment, and medical as a priority. Or managers are going to be set up for failure ongoing. We also got Fat Wombat here as well. It's been an absolute joke for the last 3 years. Grant is just another failed experiment. He's not showing any signs of turning this around. Get rid before another season turns to ash. Lord again says, but who comes in? I think that's the question for many people. Get shut for me, tactically poor, says Mark. Thank you for your comment, Mark. Much appreciated. Everybody who does get involved with these comments, new and old people who comment, are absolutely fantastic. Really does help. Lee said, leave Steve alone. That's one it's mine to give stick to. Fat Wombat, he says, will be middling League 2 club before long. And I think this is a comment that you were talking about, Cal. Worryingly, we are 9th and not a very good 9th. I'm not a fan of sacking managers.
This isn't the comment I was on about.
I think he needs to go. Which one? Which comment? Oh, we're still going. Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry. Lord says Wagner was a freak and was in the Championship League 1. Yeah. And we cross that line and said, part of the problem is constant change of management. Give at least one person the chance to carry out his long-term plans.
No,
Cal,
why? Because it's not working, is it? So we give him a chance to carry out his long-term plans, and we can't sack him. What then? We finish 18th. But we've given him time to carry out his long-term plans. So brilliant, quality, really good.
The argument against that is Ranieri finished near bottom of the league with Leicester and one season after.
Yeah, but the story there is that the manager previous did all the hard work.
I've thrown an anomaly in there. It's perplexed Callum. You don't know.
Throw you another one. Football is a results business, and Lee Grant currently isn't getting the results.
No, okay, speaking of results, because we're going to look at wrapping up very shortly. It's time for our predictions. Blue Terrier 1-0 Bolton and Huddersfield 2-1 against Mansfield. Terrier 930 2-0 Bolton 1-0 Mansfield. I don't think I've got any other predictions in there at the moment, so get them in, please, so we can go through them. Steve, I'm going to come to you first. Your Bolton prediction, please.
Huddersfield Town 0, Bolton Wanderers 2.
Cal, your Bolton prediction, please.
Huddersfield Town 0, Bolton 2.
No, we agree.
Yeah, about time you've agreed on something this evening. Cal, Mansfield prediction, please.
I'm going to say 1-0 Huddersfield Town.
Okay, we've found some positivity this evening.
Let me just drive a steamroller over that and just say that if that result does happen, I will not be over the moon with it.
Okay, thank you. Steve, Mansfield prediction?
I actually agree. Not with the second part, but a 1-0 scoreline.
I can't believe.
Yeah.
Go on, Steve.
I just was going to say, like, I think if we lose to Bolton, he'll have no choice but to play somebody like Cam Asher, and Cam Asher will bend one in top corner. We'll all go ballistic 'cause we know we're going to Wembley.
If he's got any sense, Cam Asher plays against Bolton.
Oh, well, yeah, but yeah.
Well, I generally can't believe that you two have finally agreed on two things this evening. But I've enjoyed the fact that neither of you haven't as well. So Mark says Bolton 2, Town 1, and Huddersfield Town 1, Mansfield 2. So interestingly, quite a lot of people are backing Huddersfield to actually score this weekend.
But still lose both games.
Yeah. To score, I'm going to try and find some positives there as well. Look, there's a couple more comments that have come in, but it really is time to wrap it up. Before Fat Womble does say it's going to be 2-0 to Bolton, by the way. He's also mentioned other stuff, the fact that we are winning games. The football is awful. Nothing's improving. He's not learning. If the football was enjoyable, fans would stick with him. And I think a lot of fans would stick with managers if they were enjoying what they were seeing, which again, I have said that quite a good few times over this podcast. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this Sunday evening. For everybody that's been viewing, please like, subscribe, share, whatever I get told to say at the beginning, which I haven't done. So appreciate that. Your comments are absolutely amazing, as always. Hope you all have a wonderful week. We've got a nice week to forget about the league because we've got a cup game coming up. But gentlemen, have a great week. We'll speak to you very shortly, and everybody else, thank you very much. And until next time, we shall see.